more information on banking, mortgages, loans, and so on. And so this is a government type of website that you can use as a tool to refer to. And then the second one on our list here is a tax website. So learning about your taxes, income tax purposes, if you have a business, things like that. If you want to tap into some benefits, like if you want to take child tax benefits, Canada gives income to families to help support children, talks about savings and pension plans and so on here. So this is two great websites that you can use as resources after our class today as well. Okay. Other resources that you can tap into, these are the chartered banks, many of them here listed here, and they have different newcomer programs there. And so, which could be, reduced fees and, different advantages for saving money or lending. And so you can check into those resources by contacting those financial institutions as well. But you can also use the account comparison tool that I'm going to send out. Okay. So now you have a little bit of an idea more so of the banking system in Canada. So there's chartered banks and credit unions. We have some points about savings. So there's different types of accounts that you can have. If you want to learn more about those accounts, there's those government websites, as well as we have our mymoneycoach.ca website that talks more in depth of that. Okay. Can an international student get a loan if they have the ample credit score? If you have credit built in Canada, you should be able to get access to lending, but I will again double check on that, because I do think you might they might have again with the newcomers special programs that they offer. They might be able to offer some of those resources to you, but usually you do have to, be somewhat, you'd have to be in Canada for a period of time in order for them to give you any kind of lending. But if you have that ample credit score, yes, you should be able to get access to a loan. And actually, just in our next class here, we're gonna just take a pause break. We'll give you about 5 minutes for a break right now. And in our next part 2 of this class is we're gonna talk about credit reporting. So what is involved with having a credit report and a credit score here in Canada, how to build your credit so you can have access to loans. And we'll talk about different types of loans in our next session here, okay? So right now it's almost 40 minutes after the hour. So we'll come back, we'll give a 5-minute break. And so we'll come back at 11:45 on your time there. Okay. So we'll give you a few minutes for a quick drink and then be back soon. Right. So the next class we have here, we're going to talk more about credit, and I'm just going to share that with you. So here's our money basics part 2. And so we're going to talk about what is credit. We'll talk about some really different types of lending practices here in Canada and things to stay away from. Talk about ways to avoid scams and fraud and what to do if you become a victim of a scam or fraud, and then some resources that you can tap into after. We'll talk about the basics of credit, list 2 types of scams in Canada and how to report that fraud. So what is credit? Credit is borrowing money now with the promise to pay it back later, with the promise of paying it back with interest in most cases. Okay, so what credit is if you were to take, ask me for a loan, I'm going to give you a certain amount of money. You're going to pay me back slowly over a period of time, but I'm going to ask you to pay me interest. You're going to pay more than what I gave you to use, so that we can build that credit. and also it's your borrowing capacity. So what credit does is it gives us a history of how we've done in the past. So if you've borrowed money from me and you paid it back, it starts to build a history on your credit report. And for example, if I was a bank and you borrowed money from me, it will start to build that history, and it will